So this is quite the fucking escalation here from the Russians specifically. They are directly violating the airspace of a NATO country and Poland. For those who may not know, historically speaking, the Poles and the Russians, not exactly the most friendly of recent relationships, thanks to multiple pogroms that happened during Soviet fucking occupation of the east side of fucking Poland. But what do we have here? Found 14 drones on its territory. Just how will NATO respond? I believe Article 4 has been called by the Poles to talk about what to do. Talk about, like, okay, like, what's our next fucking step? Because the Russians are getting more emboldened because of whose weakness? Trump's weakness. Trump's reaction to this is on Russians' incursion in NATO, saying, here we go. Uh, so President Donald Trump reacted Wednesday with a degree of bemusement towards Russia's drone incursion into Poland, a NATO member that Trump has previously vowed to defend amid heightened tensions with Moscow. What's with Russia violating Poland's airspace with drones? Trump asked in a short post on True Social. Here we go. Buddy, they attacked a fucking goddamn factory owned by a US fucking company within the west fucking side of Ukraine, and now they're starting to violate NATO members' airspace. This is a fucking call. This is Putin essentially saying, you're a pussy ass bitch. You're not gonna fucking do any of this shit. And you're basically gonna still let me do whatever I want because I think you're a weak little bitch. You're weak. You are pathetic. You are ineffective. That is what fucking Putin is saying here. All because he wrapped you around his fucking goddamn finger during the fucking peace summit, parroting the fucking conspiracy theories that you believe in, speaking those sweet fucking niceties to you, and just playing to your fucking goddamn sensibilities. And you're gonna, like, shocked Pikachu face in bemusement? Really? Really? You're gonna be amused about this shit. Fuck out of here with this nonsense. As soon as details began to emerge that Warsaw and NATO scrambled aircraft to defend against several drones flying through Polish airspace, questions loomed about whether this was a deliberate incursion by Moscow and how Intergovernmental Alliance would respond. Now, of course, I think it is deliberate because this is Putin essentially messaging saying, Trump, you're a pussy, you're not gonna do shit, you're a fucking loser, and aren't gonna fucking do anything about this. You're not gonna do anything. Like, who the fuck cares? Fuck you. Eat our shit. Suck our dick. Polish Prime Minister Donald Tusk declared that the country is the closest that we have been to open conflict since World War II, and the Russians are again being the main aggressors here, as always. The government invoked Article 4, under which it can demand a consultation with NATO members. Though its allies lined up to condemn Russia, they were also careful to not label it as an attack, signaling that this is not a situation that warrants invoking the collective defense measure of Article 5, which stipulates that an attack on one is considered an attack on all of NATO. The Polish government has been on high alert since a nearby Russia launched its full-scale invasion of its neighbor Ukraine in 2022. Russia denied the incident was intentional. Of course they will. Then why the fuck would you do the incursion, man? You did an attack already on US assets within Ukraine. Like, the next logical step is for you to try to incur on either the Baltic regions or Poland. If it really was an actual fucking mistake, sure, maybe. Because stuff like this has happened before, where certain missiles got shot down and a lot of the debris ended up catching fire. Now, that was because of the Ukrainians shooting down and intercepting the drones, the missiles that were being shot at them, and the debris happened to fall in Poland. That's not the fault of Russians or the fault of Ukrainians. That's just an unfortunate fucking mishap. And nothing really sort of stemmed or happened from that. No, followed up upon that. But you're putting in fucking random drones into Polish airspace. I highly doubt, and I'm very, very skeptical of the sort of idea that this was an incursion by accident by the Russians. I'm not fucking buying it. And while NATO mulls its response, it faces the tough balance of deterring Moscow from future attacks while not inviting further escalations. I mean, this is pretty much exactly what Trump wanted, by the way. The Europeans having to be forced to gather more and more arms because of his weak abstemiousness, his fucking pathetic capitulations to the to Putin and the fucking Russians. Because again, for Trump, he is a fan of Putin because he fucking loves dictators so much. We all talk about how much he was trying to glaze Putin, wanted to fucking suck his dick, all because like Putin decided to give him a tiny bit of attention and say like, "Oh, you agree with the conspiracy theories that I like? Oh, I'm so happy, Pooty Poo. I love you so much that you agree with all the stupid shit that I fucking say." Oh, 1000% Boy Meets Minnie. Yeah, it is fucking crowded airspace. Very dangerous. I mean, like, I'm going to assume that maybe the Russians tried to make sure that they took precautions to not have that happen. But I mean, Russian separatists have also shot down passenger airlines before, so throw all down to the wind for that. Like, who the fuck knows? Poland shares a more than 500-kilometer border with Ukraine and has already seen collateral damage from the latter's war with Russia. The same year when the Kremlin invaded Ukraine, 2 Polish residents were killed when a Ukrainian air defense missile went off course. It was because it went off course because it was trying to intercept, went off course, landed in Poland, blah, 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 blah. You know, accidents fucking happen. In the most recent incident, during a mass Russian drone attack on Ukraine overnight, Poland said 19 objects entered its airspace, and that its air force, supported by NATO, shot down those that posed a threat. Again, it makes you wonder, really, did they actually veer off course as a part of a fucking attack? These are, from what I understand, were launched from Belarusian fucking territory, from Russian assets within Belarus. Were they really veering off course? Really? Really? Again, personally, I fucking doubt it. Polish officials say that at least 14 drones have been found on the country's territory, including one that crashed into a roof of a house in eastern Poland. Others were found in rural fields. Most officials and many experts said they didn't believe that these were wayward drones, but rather an intentional act by a probing Kremlin. I don't disagree with this, to be honest, because again, you have to ask yourself why. Why? Like, why? Why did this happen? How did this happen? If Putin was trying so hard to really fucking avoid any potential conflict with NATO fucking allies and was trying to avoid it as much as he fucking could, why would this fucking happen? Why would they veer off course in the way that they would? It makes you fucking curious, doesn't it? Many people would start to ask a lot of questions, saying like, was this fucking intentional? Because the Russians have done shit like this before, where they poison random fucking people. And then say like, oh, it wasn't us, and then it was obviously the fucking Russians, and provably the fucking Russians. And they've also done fucking sabotage on European manufacturing of fucking arms. So it's just like, really? I'm supposed to believe that this isn't fucking intentional by the Russians? Get the hell out of here. There's too many of them for it to be an accident or to just be the result of drone jamming. That's actually a really good point. Yeah, it's 19. If it was 1 or 2, sure. I can believe that, as is being said here. But 19? 19. I'm more suspicious of that. Warsaw scrambled jets because of apparent aerial threats from Russia, and has accused Moscow of waging a hybrid war, including orchestrating arson on its territory. Again, they've done fucking sabotage before. I think there's a creeping narrative from the Polish government as to where we are right now in terms of a potential Russian attack on NATO territory, said Marta Proskowicz-Jasławska, a Warsaw-based policy fellow at the European Council on Foreign Relations. Whether it's cyber attacks, disinformation, election interference, or provocations, we've seen the whole range of hybrid war tactics that they have. Proskowicz-Jasławska pointed out that what happened overnight is the first time a NATO country has directly shot down Russian military weapons over NATO territory. Prime Minister Mark Carney called Russia's actions reckless and escalatory, adding that countries would remain vigilant against Moscow's attempts to widen and prolong the conflict. U.S. President Donald Trump, in his typical musings on social media, posted, "What is with Russia violating Poland's airspace with drones? Here we go." It isn't clear what he meant, and he hasn't elaborated further. Again, like I said before, it's because he's a weak-willed loser who's actually not going to do anything about this. He's the one who soyed out over fucking Putin, talking about like, oh, he agreed with a lot of the stupid shit that I fucking said, and I really think that he's gonna be for peace. Soon after, he said that he's going to be for peace after that supposed peace summit, quote unquote. He bombed the fucking U.S. factory that's operating within the western parts of Ukraine. Yeah, he's definitely for peace, guys. Trump spoke with Poland's President Karol Nawrocki later on Wednesday. In a social media post, Nawrocki said he is consulting with NATO allies and that all of the conversations confirmed a unified position. Analysts who have viewed photos of the drones said they resemble the Russian Zhebera model, a relatively cheap UAV designed to look like the more powerful Shahed drones that frequently target Ukrainian cities with larger warheads. The Gebera is a lighter and made of plywood and foam. Jesus Christ, that's it. It's just it's literally like strap some explosives. I don't know, assemble like a little glider with a tiny little mortar and just be like, just fucking throw it. Who cares? It has frequently been deployed to act as a decoy meant to overwhelm air defenses. Exact same shit, for example, that the Iranians do. That's where they picked up that fucking tactic, right? Yeah, it's Soviet design principle, but again, they can't use more expensive materials because Russia's like a poor, dying fucking country, so they have to use as many cheap materials as possible to throw as much fucking bullshit at the Ukrainian air defenses as possible so they can fucking try to, overwhelm Ukrainian air defenses. It can't carry an explosive payload, but a much smaller amount than the Shahed. Some of its models also have reconnaissance capabilities. If you want to map and test Polish and NATO air defenses, it would be a good way to do it in the middle of a large attack against Ukraine, which happened last night, said Burry. Don't disagree with that assessment. He anticipates that a NATO response might include further bolstering air defense systems along the alliance's eastern flank, and also questions how the drones were able to make it so far into Poland before being intercepted. Because they were launched from Belarus. They were definitely launched from there. Like, that's more than likely what it is. Like, where else could they fucking do it from? There's Russian assets within Belarus. We know that. And Lukashenko is sympathetic, obviously, to the Russians. They are fucking allies. Like, that's not ridiculous to say. For its part, Russia's defense ministry said it had carried out a drone attack on military facilities in western Ukraine overnight, but said there were no plans to hit targets in Poland. I'm sure. It didn't outright deny that it violated Polish airspace, but said its drones, which allegedly crossed the border with the country, has a range of no more than 700 kilometers. But we know that they launched a bunch from fucking Belarus. That's why. Like, again, if it was one or two, okay, accident. I'll give the Russians that. Very likely a fucking accident. 19? 19. I'm way more fucking skeptical. Drones were found in a number of locations in Poland, including near Belarus, which Russia has previously used as a launch pad for attacks. Minsk said that it had shot down some drones that lost their track as a result of electronic jamming. Officials said that Belarus warned Poland and Lithuania about the UAVs. Sure, whatever. With Russia showing no sign of halting its war on Ukraine, Poland is expected to spend 4.7% of its GDP on defense this year, a higher proportion than any other NATO member. Proskowitz said the government is trying to make it clear that to the population that its high defense spending is warranted. I mean, with shit like this, it's going to warrant that particular position more and more because, again, of Donald Trump's fucking weakness with Putin in particular. He, literally, after the fucking goddamn peace summit, he attacked a fucking U.S. factory operating in Ukraine in the western parts of the fucking goddamn country. That doesn't even fucking make, armaments and equipment for fucking armaments. It made fucking appliances, for fuck's sake. Cheap fucking goods. Nonsense. It's also trying to convince its allies to help it build an even stronger military. I hope that it will lead to a more broader strategic conversation about how NATO aims to respond to further provocations and incursions, which will definitely occur. Can't disagree with that. In his evening video address, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky said Europe needs to work on a joint defense system and that Ukraine could provide assistance and expertise about how to intercept drones. Makes a lot of fucking sense. They've been experiencing it for the past 2 years at this point. Makes sense that they have a lot of fucking experience. And would give a lot of fucking intel and techniques for as to how to take care of this stuff, specifically to the United States and also NATO and the rest of Europeans. Well, maybe not so much to the United States anymore, given how much the U.S. has been consistently fucking snubbing a lot of shit from and demands that the Ukrainians are having for more air defenses and more armaments to be able to defend themselves. While the Russians are testing the limits of what's possible, they are testing reactions, Zelensky said. They are monitoring how NATO countries' armed forces act and what they can do and cannot yet do. Can't really fucking disagree with what fucking Zelensky is saying there. We all know why the reasoning of this shit's fucking happening. It's because of Trump being as ridiculously fucking weak as he is with the fucking Russians. Not doing everything possible to understand that the Russians are an adversary. They're not his friend. Putin was never his fucking friend. He played him like a fucking goddamn fiddle by deciding to talk about, like, all the stupid conspiracy theories and nonsense that fucking Donald Trump agrees with, and did that as a way to fucking play to his sensibilities, because Donald Trump is a fucking child. He is a fucking child who can be easily played. We've all, like a fucking fiddle. And we all have seen the cabinet fucking meetings. We've all seen them where he's like, all of this like stupid lackeys and dipshits like suck his cock, decide to be like, Mr. President, you're such a good president. You're so good. You're the best president. Fucking tickle his balls, suck him off, give him the fucking best fucking blowjob that he fucking has ever received ever since his wife decided to fucking stop giving him any because she fucking hates his guts. We all know that he is a petulant little fucking child who only cares about adulation. That is it. So spare me the fucking nonsense when Putin decided to play him like a fiddle with his fucking peace summit that ultimately ended up not going anywhere because Donald Trump is a fucking Russian asset. He's a coward, a fucking freak, and a fucking loser who has allowed for further escalations to be done by the fucking goddamn Russians. Like, Trump, you're the fucking problem here. Spare me all the fucking excuses and bullshit and telling me that, Putin is my friend, we're best friends, we're such good friends, and he does everything possible to fucking help me. Spare it. I don't give a shit. Fuck off with this nonsense. You're the fucking problem here, Trump, by constantly advocating for positions like saying that, Putin would never betray me like that. He would never do that. Spare it. Complete utter fucking nonsense, dude.